The Buddha recommended practicing mindfulness of death because, as he said, it leads to the deathless. How does it do that? There are basically two things you have to keep in mind. That's what the mindfulness part is. One is the fact that death could happen at any time. That's to give rise to a sense of urgency, realizing there's work to be done. The work, of course, depends on other things you have to keep in mind, which is the Buddha's explanation of what happens at death. The mind latches onto a craving. It can't stay with the body anymore, and it starts sending out cravings in all directions. The Buddha says that we cling to our cravings in the same way fire in one house clings to the wind as it moves to another house. And that is how a being leaves a body and goes to another body at the moment of death. It's clinging to the craving that lies between death and our next rebirth. So that tells you the kind of work that has to be done. Training your mind to what it clings to, being very clear about where your desires are going, and having some control over them. Having the alertness, mindfulness, and ardency to want to send your desires in the right direction. If you haven't completed your training in this lifetime, you want to be able to find a place where you can continue training in the next. So this is one of the reasons why we practice concentration, because it's a very good way of seeing how the mind sends out its feelers. It creates a thought world, and then it goes into that thought world. That's the process of what the Buddha calls becoming, followed by birth. So the process that would lead to rebirth is happening right here all the time. All the becomings that we create in the course of a day are simply small versions of what's going to happen when we can't stay in this body any longer. Different worlds will appear to the mind, and you'll choose one to go into. The worlds, of course, the options that are available will be based on your past karma, but also on your clingings and cravings. So if you've got craving for sensuality, it might take you to a sensual place where it looks like it's going to be pleasurable. But look at the human realm. It's one of the better sensual levels, yet look at all the suffering all around us. This is one of the reasons why Buddha says if someone is on their deathbed, you try to get them to let go of human sensuality, to see the drawbacks of human sensuality, and at the very least, focus on diva sensuality, something better. Of course, even that has its drawbacks. Ideally, get them so they can see that any kind of construction of a sense of self will take them into a world where there's going to be some suffering. And if they can let go of that construction, that process of wanting to create a self around any kind of clinging, then there's the opportunity for release. That's the ideal. So that's the work to be done. And then again, mindfulness of death reminds us not only of the work to be done, but also of the urgency of doing it now. Because it's so easy to put things off. You say, I'm a little bit tired tonight, and I'd like a little bit of pleasure before I settle down to my meditation, thinking about something I like. But suppose the end came suddenly, right now, and your last thought was what you'd like to have for a meal tomorrow, which would be totally useless and actually might lead you to a very unskillful rebirth. So you want to focus right now on the work that needs to be done. One, peel your mind away from its fascination with human sensuality. Two, peel your mind away from its fascination with creating a sense of self, its habit for creating states of becoming, and then going into them. If when you're sitting, meditating, a potential distraction comes up, remind yourself you're practicing for the sake of dying well, so you don't want to let the mind slip off into distraction, no matter how innocent or innocuous it seems. You want to stay continually with the breath. Any feelers that would go out from this, you want to cut them off. Make the breath comfortable so that it's a place to stay, but keep reminding yourself You're here in the present moment, not because the present moment is a wonderful place, or because it's the only place to be, what they call the eternal present. You're here because there's work to be done here. And that's always the Buddhist's focus. Every time he talks about the importance of focusing on the present moment, it's always in the context of mindfulness of death and the work that needs to be done. As he says, do your duty right now. You're not hankering after the future. You're not dwelling on the past. You're focusing on what's appearing right now. And then do your duty with regard to it, which is training the mind so that it can let go of cravings and not slide so easily into states of becoming. So you provide the mind with a spot here with concentration. Learn how to wear your plans lightly so that you keep your priorities straight. Your priorities are training of mind. As the Buddha pointed out, the basic principle of right view is that here is the next world, and it's built by your karma, built by your actions. Your state of mind is going to be very, very important at the moment of death. You want to be able to see your clingings, your cravings. You can learn how not to ride with them at all, so much the better. But if you find that you can't manage that, at least keep yourself, as the texts say, rightly directed. Have a sense of what would be a good birth, one where you can practice, but always keep in the back of your mind that even places that are good to practice have a lot of dangers. So be strict with your mind as it creates new versions of you, and it's new becomings all the time. Learn how to pare them down so you can understand the process. Learn it for the sake of aborting it. Only then can you really be free. Otherwise, you're stuck living in time. And time just slips away. All the things you think of accomplishing, they just go right through your fingers. So you want to find something that's really solid, of essence. And the essence, of course, is release. Everything you do that leads there takes its value from the fact that it's related to release. The word for essence in Pali is sara, also means heartwood, the hard wood at the core of the tree. All of our practices, although they may not be the heartwood, at least they're not the twigs and branches. They're the soft wood that surrounds the core, protects it. So you try to keep your actions within that range, aiming for release, so that as the body passes away, or as your memory goes, as you get older, you'll still have something of solid worth, something that even death can't have any impact on. That's how mindfulness of death leads to the deathless. This video was based on a talk by Ṭhānissaro Bhikkhu, an American Buddhist monk from the Thai forest tradition. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.